Um, welcome, welcome. I'm going to wait for a few more of you to come on to this take two before I start talking about this. So, welcome to everyone coming on. Bear with me. I'm getting, you know what? It's very funny because in the past, this would have been, this would have stressed me out not being able to get on and technical difficulties and all of it. And it's like, really? Um, it's okay. So, welcome. I am doing this Facebook Live to start a conversation with, um, yay, there I am. Oh my goodness. Now I can see your comments. Huh. Start a conversation. Oh, hold on. I should turn my volume down. Start a conversation with the topic no more hiding. I've done I've been doing some calls and stuff on this lately, and also have a year-long program coming up, and also know a lot personally about this topic, and have spent pretty much my life creating image upon image to, for many different reasons, but basically to have somewhere to belong, to have somewhere to fit in was one of them, and also have massive judgments of myself that I would keep hidden. But then also with that, see, every judgment takes at least 25 other judgments to hold that judgment in place. So it kind of gets to a point in your life where it's like you lose you. And my desire with this whole topic and with facilitating and just being alive in general is to contribute to people and to contribute to more of us having that joy of being alive and that joy of being us and the joy of being the uniqueness and the difference that we are. And so this has been, for me, very uncomfortable at moments and very confronting to actually look at it and go, oh, okay, so what do I truly desire? What do I desire as my life, and what do I desire as our world? And even in that question, I've only really started looking at this with a lot more vulnerability recently. And so from that space of actually not having judgment and looking at it from, okay, if I was actually being honest with myself with this, so I'm inviting you to that. And also I'd like to just uh, give you a little bit of contribution along the way with whatever it is with whatever it is you're choosing as your life. And that's the thing with this is it's your life. You get it. You get to create it. It's the gift of you. And yet for a lot of us what we do is we look to basically what everybody else has and what everybody else has chosen as our menu of choice. What I would like to see is that we all have a unique perspective on what is true for us. And so choosing from this place of image, I know for me it's not been an easy gig, and it definitely has not given me it hasn't given me more of me to the degree that could exist beyond the image. So um, so a few things is one of the things is creating your creating your life and living from space is very difficult to do when you're hiding you. And also, so I know that side, but also the other side of creating your life with space, which is the energy space and consciousness that true creation exists from. And blah blah, what does that mean? Well, when when I got to a point years ago when I realized that I heard Gary Douglas say in a class that every choice, your life is where it is right now, based on, you've created it based on every choice that you've ever made. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought my life had happened to me. And in getting that awareness, gave me the sense of, okay, so if I've created myself as this, what would I actually like to create myself as? Who would I like to be in this world? Who would I like to be in my life? And what would I like to choose? And that is such a different way of like truly creating your life and living. So this, let me see if I can even put words to any of the stuff that I'm aware of at the moment with it. Because like I said, this has been a journey for me, and something that has gotten a lot more present in my life as it's gone along and as I've been facilitating other people with it is that question of what do I truly desire as my life and living, and what world do I truly desire to create and be in? And that's a whoa question. And to actually, like I said, have that vulnerability with it and begin to be the source for the creation of your life and living, not the necessity of looking outside of you for the reasons and justifications or the judgment or the needs and all of these other things that we create our lives as, but truly getting vulnerable with yourself and going, oh, okay, who would I actually like to be? You know, and that question alone, it's like can bring up a lot of stuff, and I get it. So everything that brings up, everything that's going on right now, can we destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyond. So I'm gonna basically see where this goes, but like I said, start this conversation and give you guys some clearings and also hopefully some space and lightness with looking at this. See, because one of the other things that we do is with the I need to put my phone up here so I can actually see it. Uh, seriously. I just facilitated a Choice of Possibilities class in Istanbul. Um, and that shit fucking rocked my world. I tell you, I have just not had a brain since. So, not had a brain, but also um, many other interesting things showing up. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Um, So I just lost my train of thought. That's awesome. So this thing of um, what with the question of who do I truly desire to be, and what would I like to create the world as? Well, with that, what a lot of us do with the hiding thing and knowing there's something else there, you know, when you just get that, you got that niggle in your world, and there's like, there's got to be more. There's got to be more, and that please, first of all, can we acknowledge that that is one of the beautiful gifts of you, that you have the desire for something different and that there is no finish line. It never gets to a point, and I know this from many years of experience and facilitating a lot of other people, is you'll never get to a point where you have enough. You'll always desire to be more. And please get that that is the gift of you. So with this, just be with that for a moment, the gift. But with this, with the unhiding thing, it's, you know, you would look at it and go, yeah, but there's all of these different things. Like there's these energies in my life, or there's these secrets and things that you've decided somewhere that if they came out, then people would, that you would be judged more. But my question is, how much judgment do you have of yourself in order to keep the secrets? And everything that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So this stacking the judgments upon the judgments upon the judgments of, rather than just going, you know what, this is me. This is me right now. This is me today. And having that vulnerability with it, the softness with yourself and the kindness for yourself is something that I see a lot of us, we don't give up on it, but we don't necessarily choose it to the degree that we could be. And that's another thing for me, is I'd like to see a lot more people in this world having that kindness for themselves, and having that kindness and that caring and that curiosity and that brilliance spill out into our world and actually start being more the space from which we function. And so, in looking at this, for me, it's been for anyone who's been following me for or listening to the shit that I talk about for any length of time. I've had some things recently that I've talked about and that have come up for me that I've exposed, and also seen where the seeing where in the for a lot of people, like, you would talk about something and you would come out, it's like, yeah, but I don't want to hide those parts and pieces of me. Well, it's not necessarily about unhiding what you've decided is wrong with you. And that's what I see a lot of us do. It's about actually unhiding the brilliance of you, the beauty of you, the kindness of you, the caring of you, the capacity, the potency that you have, but what we do with the judgeable things. And I mean judgeable as the wrong things. Usually we have the two judgments. We have what's right and we have what's wrong. Usually we'll expose the right things and build an image based on that. But all the wrong things is usually where all these capacities lie. And exposing those to yourself begins to unleash the brilliance of you. Does that sound of interest? How would it get any better than that? So in this, I was having a conversation with Dane here years ago, and I was like going, I was facilitating a class, and he said, okay, so are you exposing you? And I went, no, not really. So I got off the phone and I went back to class and basically did that. Just exposed all of the things that I thought were so terrible and wrong about me, and just started having a really difficult time. And I called him back and he said, okay, so did you ever maybe think that exposing you meant actually exposing the brilliance that you are and the gift that you are? And I went, oh, holy shit. No, I did not even look at that. And I see a lot of us do that with you. So with this, so what would you, or what have you decided that you would lose if you exposed all of you to you? Everything that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And if you are watching this and you're going, what is that crazy shit that he's talking about? Check out theclearingstatement.com. You will see it in there. But basically, it is your magical wand to possibilities, to changing anything that's not working in your life. So in this, with this, looking at, okay, so what would I like to be? What would I like to not see? Because the other thing we do is, well, what would I like to do? What would I like to be seen as? What would I like, basically, what would I like my image to be in the world? No, I'm talking about, what would you actually like to be? What are the elements of being that is the space of you that would create the life, the living, and the future you desire with total ease? And that's the other thing that starts showing up when you are willing to expose you to you, is you start getting that sense of ease with creation and ease with living and joy and all the fun things that we tend to have given up on a little bit, or hide with all of the judgments that we have of ourselves. So everything that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So in looking at this, for me, I've been asking that question for quite a while, but also looking to, well, what does this person do? And what does that person do? And looking to others as the source of of who, what, where, when, why, and how I should be. And so this thing of like looking at it with vulnerability from this space of, wow, what would I truly desire to be in this world? And create it as if I acknowledge that I was the creator of it. And I say this because I would like to acknowledge you all that we not only create our lives, but from the space from which we choose them, we create the space in our world. And I would say with that, if you go, well, that's a little bit too much pressure. Well, did it lighten your world up at all? Did it give you a sense of lightness to know that the space from which you choose to live and be and create and choose is the space from which our world begins to be actualized. Everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. So with this, I would say also, just let this in. Let the space of the conversation actually contribute to the space of your being. Because the other thing that we do with this is we tend to go into a lot of judgment. Oh, there's these things I've been hiding, and there's this that's wrong with me, and there's this that I'm not creating, and there's not enough money, and I'm not, successful enough, and all of those things that we do in our head. And as soon as we go into our head, we go into the judgment that's designed to stop us. Rather than, okay, from what space could I be the question that would allow me to begin to receive the gift of me? Everything that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. So it was only actually a few days ago I was having a conversation once again with Dane, and like looking at this from this vulnerable space of, wow, I actually got where I'd been looking at that through basically the lens of this reality. When you're looking at something and you kind of, you can only focus on points rather than be the question that would allow you to get a sense of the energy that you would like to be. And so in looking at this, what I got was, when I was a kid, my point of view was basically, I just want to take care of everyone, and I want everyone to be happy, and I just want to contribute, and I want to be that. And in looking at that, for me, starting to see the areas in my life where that was not of value, and judgment became the source for creation. And I tell you guys this in just a desire to contribute, but also where maybe it sparks something in your world where you get, oh, I get where I was at too. So everything that brought up, will you destroy and create it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. So with this, see, anything that you get a sense of you as a kid, and you're just like joyful, and you just full of possibilities, or whatever that is for you, whatever that energy for you is, that's more you. And then, so what would it be like if you could actually be that again? What would it be like if you could create your life from that space again, but also have that wonder and joy in your world again? And that total curiosity of every day is a new day, and it's like, oh, I wonder what today is going to show up like, and I wonder what I can be in the world today. And so the other thing with this is, you cannot be hidden from you and be a contribution at the same time. And for a lot of us, what we've done is we've created the judgment upon the judgment upon the judgment in order to create these images, but also given up on the contribution that we can be in the world, but also be for ourselves and our lives. That total space of receiving you as who you are. Like, ponder, what would it be like having that much allowance for yourself, that that became more valuable than the judgments that you use to keep you hidden? That's what I'm asking for. That's what I desire to contribute to all of you, but also start having some joy with it. And that's the thing with this too, is that it's got to be joyful. It's got to be from the space of what makes you lighter is true for you. What's heavier isn't. And what I see with this unhiding thing is, for a lot of us, we keep looking at the heavy shit, going, well, that's heavy, so I must have it hidden from me. Or that's heavy, that's heavy, that's heavy. And hiding from the heaviness, rather than hiding from the heaviness in reaction, which comes from the idea that it's actually you, rather than acknowledging the lie and seeking the lightness. So, um, so everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And with this thing in being the contribution is, what contribution are you already that you're not acknowledging? And what would that be for you if you actually acknowledged it? And once again, I say that, and you can hear that and go, yeah, but like contribution, like in whatever way that you look at that. But the true contribution is the simultaneity of gifting and receiving. It's the willingness to be the gift, but also receive the gift you are simultaneously. So, if for in a lot of people's lives, what they look at is, well, how do I give and what do I take? What do I give and what do I get? Well, I get that. And I get we've all been taught that. But what would it be like if you could be the contribution that you are? And truly, from the question, what contribution can I be today? And so everything that brings up, such an interesting thing to look at, because I get that also. It's like what I realized recently was I was um, hitting this kind of wall with this topic and going with that sense of the wrongness. The I don't want to unhide that. Like I don't want anyone to know about that part of me. But what if that part of you is not is what if it's not wrong, and what if it's stopping you from being the contribution that you are? Like what world would excite you to live in? What would be that world that would excite you? And what gift could you be in creating it? So that's the uh, invitation that I would like to be. Oh, people want to be bought on camera. That's awesome. Um, and yeah, that question of what contribution can I be today? It's like I always looked at contribution as what what can I do to contribute to people? And we're taught that here, and we're taught in this reality it's all about the doing. But what I'm talking about with this and speaking to with this is it's about your being, and it's about the energy that you be, that these secrets and the hidden things that you have from you are the things that eliminate you from receiving it and from being it. So my well, let me ask you this. What would excite you about being alive? What would make you just want to wake up every day and just be like, oh, yeah, this is fun? And I will say that for me, what I've looked at over probably the last year is what I've been asking for is, you know what? I'd really like to wake up and know in my world that I'm being a contribution. So that's been an interesting thing to look at, because I know when I do judgment, I'm not being the gift of me. I know when I'm trying to find an answer and I'm coming to conclusion, I'm not being the gift of me. I know when I'm doing unkindness or fight, I'm not being the gift of me. So in that question of what contribution can I be, it comes with a lot of the awarenesses of what eliminates the contribution that we are. And so in that, in looking at that, if you in having that basically as the question that you begin to function from, then what's another choice that you have with going to judgment of you? What's another choice that you have with going to fight? What's another choice that you have with being unkind? And if we looked at it from that, and rather than look at our lives of how do we solve it, what is one small choice that I have right now that would create more space for me and more ease for me and more joy for me? And everything that doesn't allow that, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, and you start getting just how much you are the navigator of everything that shows up in your life, but it's based on all of the choices that we make, not just the big ones. And from what I've learned over the years with this, with the topic of choice, is it's the thousands and thousands and millions of little choices that we make that is creating tomorrow. And so within that is, you know what, I'd like to, so using myself as an example, I'd like to be a contribution. That's a question, but also in that, what would I have to choose today that would allow me to be that? What small choices do I have available right now rather than going to judgment? Oh, you know what? Small choice right now could be interesting point of view. I have that point of view about myself. And rather than going to fight, it could be, you know what? I'm going to be something different with this. And rather than go to resistance and reaction, I'm actually going to be an allowance. And rather than go to unkindness, you could ask a question like, who am I being right now? Like, I know for me, I grew up with a lot of people who had no desire to be kindness. But when I ask that question, who am I being right now, and get a sense of, well, that doesn't match the energy of who I would like to be. And you may get a sense of a person is, okay, everywhere I'm choosing to be that and function that way, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And notice even in that, just those few small choices have created more space of who you can be, the contribution you can be, and the no longer having as much of a necessity as much of a necessity of hiding you. So what if this whole unhiding topic and unhiding you and really starting to show up and be the gift that you are is in every single choice that we make? And it's not a destination, but it's a space from which you can choose to be. Does that kind of make it a little easier? Is it kind of, now it gives you a sense of something that you could start to be today rather than something that's going to take you 12 months or 10 years or 8,000 lifetimes to get to? Now it's, okay, what's a different space from which I can choose right now that would allow me to begin to unhide me to me? Another process I'd like to give you guys with this, looking at being the source for the creation of your life, and rather than look to everybody else of where they've got it right or what you should create, being with this question of what would I truly like to be for me in this world, and what world would I like to create to be in? Let me see if I can remember it, or what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, and possibilities can you and your body be to be the sources for creation you truly be beyond this reality for all eternity with total ease? Everything that doesn't allow that, times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So what ESCC, which is the short one, MMMP, can you and your body be to be the sources for creation you truly be beyond this reality for all eternity with total ease? Everything that doesn't allow that, times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I mean, how much weirdness are you trying to keep hidden with what you're keeping hidden from you? How many of you know you're just a weirdo? You're a little bit weird, but you don't want to get too crazy because you don't want to be judged for it. Well, how much of what you're keeping hidden from you is to avoid the judgment of others? And how much is avoiding the judgment from others, avoiding the receiving that you could have that would actually allow you to create the life and living that you truly desire? And you start to get the sense with all of that, how much all of it plays together. Basically, everything in this reality, the density, the lies, the judgment, the fight, all of that how it works together to keep you always, always choosing less than being. Fuck it, fuck it, fuck it. Whatever it takes, I'm just going to begin today. Even if that's with one choice that I make from a different space, I'm going to begin today to go on this journey of having me. Everything that is, everything that brought up, and everything that doesn't allow it. Times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Thank you everyone for watching, and your thank yous and your feedback and your gratitude. And um and I'm just gonna read this a little bit because anyway, I have a question. What does it take to be able to see your comments on the computer with your live so you don't have to have your phone sitting next to your computer? That's what I want. Oh, that's funny. As I ask that, I see it. I tell you, I am I am not that bright sometimes. I'm just gonna expose that part about myself here on live camera. But also, even in that, it's like do we, um, how much do we try and prove how smart we are while kind of having this sense that we're not that smart, rather than just acknowledging that and going, you know what, I'm not bright sometimes, and um, and that's not wrong. Yeah, ask and you shall receive. I know, right? There you go. I didn't even know that whole thing was there, but it is. But so the thing with this is, what we do is we try and prove that we are the opposite of what we've judged ourselves as. So if you look at that, like for me, there's been so many different things, but one of the big things with this conversation is I always had the point of view about myself that I was stupid and that I wouldn't really eventuate to anything. My life would basically be like everybody else's, and being like the life that I'd been given, or thought that I'd been given, or thought that I had to live. So I always in my world had this point of view that I'm just stupid. So what I did with that was I always tried to build this image and prove the opposite of that, and try to prove how smart I am, and try to prove how successful I can be, and how prove I know things that I just didn't really, wasn't willing to have the awareness of. And notice even in that, like when you have the judgment of yourself that that you don't know enough, or you're stupid, or you're not smart enough, and then you prove that you are smart by getting the awareness, you miss out on the awareness of what you could actually know. And that's where we stick ourselves with this proving thing, is we keep ourselves in a cycle of judgment, rather than being the question of, what do I actually know with this? Like, what do I know about my life and living that I haven't acknowledged? What do I know about business that, if I didn't have to prove I knew about business, would allow me to receive the unique capacity that I have and can be with business? What do I know about money that, if I didn't have to prove I had any idea about it and didn't have to solidify it, would allow me to have the awareness of what I could receive and be, and uniquely be, with money? So everything that is, everywhere you're trying to prove you are what you've just prove you are the opposite of what you judge yourself as, will you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Um, yeah, like, language are you speaking? Yeah, well, I get that. Oh yeah, oftentimes too, when somebody speaks, um, when something matches your item, and when something lightens your world up in any way, and you kind of get a sense of, oh shit, I get where I've been doing that, you may not be able to hear it in what you would call English, because it's this is a whole different thing. So there you go. But so what ESCC MMMP can you and your body be to be the sources of creation, you truly be right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, millions. Oh, I forgot to mention something also. Um, Dr. Dane here has a money class starting in 15 minutes. It's going to be epic. I'm hoping somebody can put the link in this in the chat here. Uh, I would highly suggest getting on it. I'm going to be on it, because he's awesome and it's an awesome topic. And access consciousness, can we just say access consciousness is fucking awesome? And how does it get any better than that? So I am going to leave it at that. I hope this conversation was a contribution. I hope it contributed to some more space in your world, and hopefully some more joy and some more ease with choice. If you didn't have to prove that you are something that you've decided you're not, how much joy could you have with the exploration of you? What could today bring? What magic could today bring? What if you were willing to choose from the space that was true for you, from the lightness that is true for you, but actively seeking it? And this is the other thing that I've learned a lot more about recently is life doesn't happen to you. Space doesn't happen to you. A future of possibilities and joy and lightness and money and all the things as well, they don't just happen to you, they have to begin right now. And they have begun because every choice that you've ever made has gotten you to here. But what else is possible? What else is possible for your life you're living in your future if you actively seeked lightness every day? If you actively went for, and I would say in every choice, but let's not even go there because you're going to have moments where you choose what's not true for you. You're going to have moments where you choose against yourself. You're going to have moments where you choose fight, where you choose judgment, where you choose all of that. What if it was just, you know what? Today I'm just going to be a bit more of who I actually am. Today I'm just going to go for a bit more lightness. Today I'm going to go for a bit more joy. Today I'm going to choose something, just anything that I haven't chosen before, just to see what it creates. So, if you would like to continue this conversation, we will be doing a 12-month joyride, we're calling it. It's 2 telecalls a month, plus who knows what else I'll create and contribute to it, because I just desire people to have more of them with this. So check it out. And what if you truly started to embrace and be the gift of you, whatever that is, as the uniqueness of you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And until next time, bye bye.